Welcome to another video Dvar Torah. I want to share with you something which maybe is a little too near and dear to my heart. Birth order of my family, I'm the second son. And if you look at the Torah, certainly the book of Bereshit, seems to love second children. Some people call it the law of ultimogeniture. Now this is sort of runs contrary to the rest of the world, where the firstborn son has a very privileged position. So firstborn sons in Europe, especially England, they inherit the entire estate because they didn't want to divide the estates into small pieces. And the second son maybe goes into the military, third son goes into government, fourth son is the wayward son. In the Torah, throughout the book of Bereshit, you're going to find the second son, Hevel, in the Cain and Abel story. He's the one that God listens to. Then we get to Abraham. Abraham's first son is Ishmael. Ishmael is a wild man. He's barbaric. He's sort of pushed out of the family. Yitzchak is the one who will carry on Abraham's legacy. Then we get to the next set. Who's the next one? Well, then you have this week's parsha, where you have Yaakov and Esav struggling over this role of the firstborn son, whereas Yitzchak is sort of stuck in the old model, and he's very taken with Esav, and he sees him as a man of action. Rivka has this prophetic insight that really it is Yaakov who is the stronger of the two. He's the one who really has the true spiritual genius that is meant to carry on this legacy of Abraham. And it's a very interesting story because we all know that Yaakov will have to represent himself as a person with arms that are hairy, and he will represent himself as if he is in fact Esav. Yaakov will ask, "Who are you?" And he says, "Esav b'chorecha," Esav, your son. Now, this is a very interesting moment, because what this moment in a way says is Yaakov's coming of age. Yaakov will have to put on the clothes of Esav. He will have to wear the clothes of the man of action in order to fully realize himself. But it goes to this idea that the Torah seems to love, that second sons are really valued. But it's not really second sons. It is really the idea of meritocracy. That the Torah is fundamentally, above all else, it is a system which says we value those who are really worthy for the job. And perhaps the best proof of this concept is King David. When the prophet Samuel goes and is meant to go to the house of Yishai, and he's meant to find all of the people who could be king. So he goes from the oldest, and God says, "You'll know when you see it." And he looks at Yishai's sons, and he doesn't see anything. He sees nothing that he can really go home with. Finally, he says, "Maybe you have another kid?" And he said, "Well, yeah, was one shepherd. He's off with the sheep. You don't really want to see him." Finally, they see David, and they realize this is the diamond in the rough, that ultimately it's the last son. It is the youngest son who is the one who is ready to take on that leadership. He is the one who will take the slingshot and is undaunted by the Philistine champion Goliath, and he will fell even the champion. He is the truly capable amongst them. And this perhaps is maybe one of the great gifts that the Torah gives to the world, is that ultimately there is a spiritual meritocracy which does not only favor the oldest son, but really looks for the diamond, the champion. And even the last lines of the book of Bereshit have this scenario where Jacob crosses his hands to put the blessing on Ephraim instead of Manasseh, because he is in fact the better of the two. I leave you with that, hoping that you fall in the right place in the birth order, and that you also appreciate this idea that the Torah brings of meritocracy.